Excuse me. Hello friends, it's Laura from CoolMomAndCollected.com. I am a homeschool mom of 5 kids under the age of 8. We do a Charlotte Mason philosophy with Ambleside Online. Now today we are going to be talking all about narration notebooks. If you guys have seen my video right here on narration, you can learn all about how I apply narration in my homeschool. It's not that hard. In fact, I almost feel like the theme of my channel has been just trying to persuade homeschool moms that it is not hard to apply Charlotte Mason philosophy in your homeschool. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep going and see more homeschool content like this. Also, please leave me a comment because I would love to know what other videos you'd like to see from me, even though I already have a running list. So in today's video, it's all about showing you my narration notebooks, what subjects I use them for, as well as the practicality of what they look like inside. I think a lot of times we become so intimidated by an idea, and it's really not that hard. So the first narration notebook that I want to talk to you guys about is our Bible narration notebook. Now, not all narration notebooks need to be combined, and so I felt like Bible would be a really significant one to have a separate journal for. And I want to be clear that my oldest is 8, so we have actually been using this since 1st grade, and my child will be going into 3rd grade this next coming year. We have not even gotten through this narration journal, but it is super sweet to kind of see my child's narrations written down about the Bible all in one place. And let me just say this loud for the people in the back. You do not need a fancy narration journal. Tú no necesitan un journal fancy, okay? You don't need a fancy narration journal. I probably picked this up from Walmart. Homeschooling does not need to be aesthetically pleasing. It can. We all want it to be, but come on, let's be real now. All you need is paper. I want to just show you guys, it's even falling apart a little bit. Hey, it's almost been 3 years. What I basically do is I keep it very simple. At the top, will write the verse that we read. I'll write the date, maybe even let my child write it if they want. I will read our section for Bible that day, and then I will have my child narrate back to me. Once they narrate to me, I write it all down. My child wants to draw a picture. There's room at the bottom. If not, that's a wrap. And bam, we do the same thing the next day. Now, it can be so easy as, for instance, Mary gave birth to baby Yeshua. Joseph did what the angel of God said and married Mary. Very simple. You'll see some days there is more than others. So that, my friends, is my child's Bible narration. All of these narration notebooks, if I have them, will be linked in my Amazon storefront, and I'll maybe even put some links down in the description box below. So please check that out. The next thing that I have for narration notebooks, this is just an example of my soon-to-be 1st grader and my soon-to-be 3rd grader. These are math notebooks. They're gridded. I love that. I've had other gridded math notebooks that I got from Simply Charlotte Mason. Of course, I didn't bring it. Let me get that. Here it is. This is the one from Simply Charlotte Mason. Again, another gridded notebook. I have one that I got probably for cheaper on Amazon, and maybe that's why I continue to stick with it. I will put the prices right here. Ding. Because my child is in the 1st and 2nd grade when he used these, you'll see that this is just how we do narration for math. We don't have like a narration notebook where they write. It's just a notebook that, we sometimes do some problems in. If you guys haven't seen my artist study and composer study, they're right here. I will link them down below. I use a special Truth, Beauty, Goodness book from Riverbend Press. And I will say this is the one area I'm willing to make the investment because they are so beautifully bound. I'm actually trying to get a discount code for you guys from Riverbend Press and possibly an affiliate link. So please check down in the description box below. I will definitely link it once I get it to try to save you guys some money. But what's really cool is you can get these reduced price because they actually mark them down if there's like a very little issue with them. Totally awesome to get to save money there. So I want to be clear that what is recorded in my Truth, Beauty, Goodness, just so you guys know what I'm narrating in here for, it's composer study, artist study. Anytime I want to have the memory of the poetry that we are studying, say I want my son to do like copy work of a poem that we're reading, and I want to remember that this was done during this grade and it's a great excuse for copy work, we'll do that. And it's basically all the true, good, and beautiful things that we've been learning can go in here. You can look at my artist study and composer study videos and just see how beautiful they are once your children start filling them in. They're beautifully bound, and they're just something that I'm willing to spend the money on in this one avenue, because I feel like artist study, poetry, Bible, and composer study will have a really warm place in their heart for years to come. So I really like that we have that. From Riverbend Press, I also have these narration notebooks. So have I spent a little bit more to get narration notebooks because I was just so excited my first year, which was last year, and just wanted something special. Kind of feels fun to like invest a little more. Yes. These two were from first and second grade, and this one is actually also from Riverbend Press, but this is for third grade. Again, these are really beautiful. There you are. Again, these are really beautiful, but I will say, remember, this is kind of pricier. I know, but worth it. I mean, look, I've had these. This was for year 1 and year 2, and they held firm. They didn't unbind. As you can see, like, they did not unbind. They really stood firm. They didn't even crinkle, And if you look in the inside, of course, my son's already written in them, but I mean, the pages, they don't bleed, which is really nice. I mean, you might see a little bit of an indent, but they don't bleed. And I want to just be clear that we have our Bible narration notebook. Now you've seen my math notebooks. You've seen my composer study, artist study, poetry notebook. And now I want to show you guys the notebooks that's kind of like for everything else. I will basically put the date, and then I will put the subject underneath, maybe the pages for that subject. So for instance, over here we have The Wolf and the Kid, Aesop's Fables. It's under the date. And then I'll read The Wolf and the Kid to my child, and then I'll have them narrate back to me. Because they're not writing yet, I will write it in this notebook. But I just want to show you guys, of course, the first page is always the neatest. And then by the time you get to the last, you realize, wow, this isn't going to make a difference whether I write super neat while my kid is speaking real fast or whether I just write like my life depends on it. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to show you guys a few of the different subjects that I record in here. Like I said, there's Aesop's Fables. Our Beacon Reader was in here. Our Spanish narrations, 50 famous story narrations went into here. Basically anything other than all of these narration books we just covered will just go together in this one narration notebook. Once I filled this up, I went into the next one, just so that makes sense. This is just a thought, but I guess you guys could get one of those pens if you want that have different colors in it. And who knows, maybe mom's fancy and she wants to change the color depending on the subject. So say you get this book at the end. I didn't do this, but it's a good idea. Say you got this book and, oh, we're all finished. Now I want to look at all history. Well, history is in red. Let's look at all our history writings. Or I wrote down your narrations of literature in blue. Okay, let's go. Let's look at all the blue. Natural history. We've been learning about animals, and after every animal we learn about, we would actually then paint it in our nature notebooks. So our nature notebooks, I got these on Amazon. I can put the link again in my Amazon storefront or down below. But these nature notebooks I use for nature studies, which I could do a video on that. But also I use them for our natural history, because as we're learning about animals, I have my child watercolor them in the book, and it's been really, really fun. But this again is just to show you, I got 2 for a very affordable price, and it just shows you the quality is great. You don't need those fancy online extreme. I mean, you can totally get them, but you don't need them. And oh my gosh, can I just show you guys one of my favorites? Oh, look at this. This is just an example. So we learned about cottontail rabbits, and my 7-year-old then drew the rabbit and then wrote a little something about the rabbit. Again, I'm not super picky when my child wants to write, especially because they haven't fully learned to write completely neat. I don't really hold them to a standard when it comes to their nature journal. This is kind of something that's just supposed to be theirs. You know, we don't really want, like, we're writing their narrations and all these things, but when it comes to their nature journal, it's really great to have it be a place that is just for them. You're not critiquing, hey, that A is supposed to be lowercase, or hey, that B is backwards, or whatever. Just let them enjoy and just praise them. And that's just a thought, because you're going to see, for instance, here, we learned about a seahorse, and again, instead of watercoloring in these, because they're not watercolor friendly, I'm like, hey, let's put our natural history in our nature notebook. But look how sweet. So this is a seahorse. They eat shrimp. Dads have a pocket for babies. They use their tails to hook. So it's a great opportunity for them to sound out on their own. And so you can have your nature study as well as your natural history all in one book. Who says you can't? You know what I mean? We can't put ourselves in this little box. Like, there's only one way to do things. You can do things like that. This is just another example that I filled up these narration notebooks. So in 3rd grade, we are going into here. We just started, and of course, mommy attempts to write extremely neat while my son is narrating. But the reality is, guys, by the time we get to the end of this book, it's gonna look like chicken scratch. That's my narrations. This is not a crazy long video, and we need some of those sometimes. This is what's worked for me. I really like when the notebooks don't have any lines right now, because since I'm writing the narration, I just feel like I have a lot more freedom. So if my kid wants to draw a picture, he's not drawing over lines. Riverbend Press also does have notebooks that have lines, like line notebooks, but they even have some that have lines on this side, no lines on the other, so that the child can write and then draw a picture. This is something that's also fun. But to be quite true, you can customize any notebook to do that. So what I would love us to do as a community is, if you are a Charlotte Mason or homeschooling mom of any kind, and you do narration notebooks and you'd like to share where you get them from, you guys can totally put that in the comments down below. So everybody, hey, even me, can kind of see what everybody's doing and see if they can get a good deal or a really beautiful value. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. And don't forget to stay cool, calm, and collected.